Our next speaker is a student from the Faculty of Business, Governance and Law. She's studying her thesis part-time and is in her third year. She has presented at conferences as varied as the Asia Pacific Interdisciplinary Research and Accounting Conference and the Australian Association for Research and Education Conference. And those two conferences should emphasise the transdisciplinary nature of her thesis research, which explores public policy, accounting and education management and their influence on university education. Please welcome for the Faculty of Business, Government and Law, Mel Timpson.
Let's have a conversation about university education. Hands up if you think the outcome and the objective of university education is to create the citizens of tomorrow. Thank you, good, great. Hands up if you think it's about getting a piece of paper to get a job. Yes, thank you. Now, hands up if you've really got no idea what the objective of university education is in Australia today. Oh, come on, guys. Okay. That last question actually relates to the large body of university education research that exists today. Over the last 30 years, there have been a lot of changes and there's a lot of research on that, but they do it through the incentives, not through the objectives. Incentives used to be for academics about successful education and successful research, but incentives today are about administration and getting that research grant and pastoral care of students as well as their education. And for accounting, which is the case study of my thesis, some academics and some institutions have to go through 5 levels of accreditation standards, internally and externally, just to be able to teach a Bachelor of Accounting. So the research goes on to show that these changes are bad because it's not what it was. But it's not saying, well, is this actually our objective? And this is where my research comes in. Using discourse theory and narrative analysis, I'm exploring the stated objectives of university education as articulated by government, universities and the professional accounting bodies. I'm looking at how these objectives have changed over time in comparison with the change in incentives as stated in the literature. Then lastly, I'll be looking at whether or not these objectives align with the outcomes. Now, why does this matter? Well, university education is a $140 billion industry, and governments, universities and accounting professional bodies are putting incentives into this industry which are changing the outcomes. And my current research, my research to date, is showing that these changes in incentives sometimes hinder and even actually contradict the stated objectives. Additionally, if we don't know what the objective of university education is on a broader scale, how can these industry players hope to sustain or even grow the university education industry? Or perhaps question if it should be an industry at all? Without my research, the future of university education in Australia is a clash of incentives and objectives, leading to possibly undesired outcomes. And quite frankly, that's a silly way to manage a $140 billion industry. Thank you.